Why not budgeting is making people broke. It's not the whole issue, but it's the beginning. Almost half of all Americans are drowning in credit card debt, and it's not because they're irresponsible. It's because most of us were never taught how money actually works. I'm a 25-year-old nurse making $125,000, and I wanted to show you how budgeting saved me from financial ruin. Why are so many people in credit card debt in the United States? Growing up in California, I went through first grade all the way through college, and not once did I receive any real financial education. Not one class about budgeting, credit, investing, or how to manage everyday expenses. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. Many of you are in your 20s trying to figure out life while juggling work, finances, and relationships. You grow up, you start working, you start spending, and then you realize you were thrown into an adult life without a single tool to handle your finances. And that makes you wonder, how can a country as developed as the United States not teach basic financial literacy to its students? And when you look at it that way, it suddenly makes sense why 46% of Americans are in credit card debt. We're living in a financially complex society with zero preparation. This is exactly why I feel so strongly about budgeting. It isn't about restriction, it's about clarity and control. It is the foundation of financial stability. So let's talk about one of the main reasons why I made this video. Living without a budget is like trying to navigate life blindfolded. It's not that people are bad with money. You could be an amazing saver. It's that they've never been shown how to manage it. So here's the real question. How can anyone stay financially stable in a country built to make you spend? Everywhere you look, ads, trends, influencers, limited time offers, pressure to impress others, convenience purchases. It's all designed to pull money out of your pocket. And I'm not telling you how to spend your money, but be realistic and see if it's something you should be spending your money on. I know many friends buying the latest phones, the latest sneakers just to fit in. Really ask yourself why you are doing these things. So, how do you take control back? How do we stop letting our environment guide our spending habits? And budgeting isn't just a rigid thing, it's flexible, personal, and that's why it's called personal finance. It can help you pay off debt, invest in your future, build savings, reduce stress, and create real meaningful freedom. Imagine if you had enough capital to start that business, or take that trip, or treat your family to a nice Christmas without having the guilt of thinking, can I afford this? I personally know many nurses I work with who are in high interest credit card debt, paying thousands a year just to fund a fun trip a few times a year, when in reality, they could do that if they just budgeted. People making 125K and still thousands in credit card debt is insane. How does one make a budget? A good budget does not need to be complicated. You don't need fancy apps or complicated spreadsheets. A good budget simply answers three questions. How much money is coming in? How much is going out? And where do you want your money to go? Many people may go by the 50-30-20 budget, which is definitely a good idea of how to get into budgeting. But in essence, a budget can be very, very simple. I broke mine down into three core categories. Needs, which is essential bills, food, rent, transportation. The second one is wants, whatever I want. If I want to go on a date with my girlfriend, if I want to spend a little bit of money on my cat. And the third one is goals. And goals is one of the most important ones. It has your savings, the debt that you want to pay off, investments, or future plans. When I first started budgeting, it was wild how much random money I just spent on useless things. And when I finally laid it out in front of me, it was very eye opening. I'm able to live a lifestyle where I feel fulfilled and grateful while saving $2,500 a month to invest. I make $125K a year before taxes. After 401k contributions, health insurance, I'm left with about 6.25K a month after the taxes. I allocate about maybe 2.5K to essentials, rent, car payments, Wi-Fi, gas, pet items, toiletries, car insurance, or what else is essential in my life. Me and my girlfriend, we go out about 1 to 2 times a week, and groceries as well. So it's about $800 on food. I mostly meal prep my food as well. I put about $400 to personal entertainment. This could be golfing a few times a month, buying a new pair of like volleyball shoes, clothes, going out on movies, or anything else I want to do. In total, I spend about $3,700, and what that leaves me with is about 2.5K that I invest in stocks, maybe do a business venture or anything else. So you finally made a budget. You're doing way better than the people around you. Now let's talk about what it actually takes to stick to a budget. there's two things that are very important: discipline and awareness. Awareness is understanding your habits. It's catching yourself in that moment when you ask, do I really need this? Am I buying this because I want it, or is it because I'm stressed or bored? Going through therapy really made me aware of my personal thoughts, and that may be helpful to you as well. Discipline is following through on that awareness. It's making choices today that benefit you in the long run. But discipline isn't about perfection. You do not need to be perfect. We are all human after all. It's not about never messing up. It's about getting back on track with intention instead of guilt. It's these active choices every day that really define you, and if you can be disciplined and aware of what you're doing. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. Budgeting isn't a punishment. It's about building life that makes sense to you. Before budgeting, my money controlled me. After budgeting, I controlled the money that I made. Me personally, one of the things that budgeting helps me on the most is spending money at card shows. If I did not have a budget, I would spend all my money on cool Pokemon cards. But with a budget, I go in there with a plan, with the intention, and just buy a few cards that I like. So you made it. You have a budget. You're following through. What can you do now? You start to feel freedom you didn't know was possible. Suddenly, you're not stressing over every single purchase. You're not drowning in anxiety every time your card gets swiped. Instead, you're building your savings. You're paying off your debt. You're planning vacations without guilt. You may even have time because you don't have to overwork. You have money for your passions, your goals, or whatever makes you happy. You may even have time to go back to school or pursue that creative project you always wanted to do. You start buying things without the emotional weight attached to them. You're able to take a day off without any fear, or if you think, oh, do I even have enough money this month to pay my bills? You can finally start to breathe and the anxiety falls off. Sticking to a budget gives you these options. It gives you the life most people will never experience because they never even take the first step. Make a budget. I feel like most people never really take full control of their money. They do what everyone else around them does. They don't really think about the future, what their goals are. Sometimes people are just stuck on their phones. But if you make a budget, if you start being aware, disciplined about where and how you spend your money, then you are going to be different from those around you. Don't settle with being normal. Normal in America is credit card debt. Normal is having anxiety about when or how you'll pay your bills. Normal is financial instability. Don't be like everyone else. Don't just put off this budget. I wanted to make this YouTube channel called Start Anyway because I tend to overthink a lot and I had trouble with starting a lot of things, and you may be able to relate to that, but I feel like starting is one of the hardest things that someone can really do on their goals. On this channel, we are going to talk about personal finance, self-development, relationship advice, and life in general. I want people to learn from each other, so please join the Discord below to meet like-minded people.